Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. So good to see all of you joining me again. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of this competition, the Shield Africa movement series. So good to have you joining us again. I'm here generally the world, different countries, but after countries within the country. So I would like to say, particularly, indicate in the just the comments on YouTube, let us know if you're coming from Nigeria, say my Twitter, say maybe even put a link to there. Only from Albania, but Albania to the US, type that in there in the comment section so that we can get moving. Of course, always happen here. And then this is the moving mindfulness. We're very humble and moderator. Very, very happy. Once more. So I understand how it's time. So we yes. So I so it's not great decision you made at yeah. And you're probably wondering because of who are you trying to social media, we can number those apps and policy implications it's agenda first do that important pieces in that is where we're not like the websites media, Shield Africa, Facebook, Instagram, X, and of course, LinkedIn. So yes, I see comments to the guide. Thank you. So we have a very interesting guest today, and I'm pretty sure this is a little interesting via so we'll get to meet our guest in a very short while. So let me quickly share with you guest profile. Okay, so today we will be having a very illustrious person there. He's the founder customer impact development and that's the right hand. So he is a Nigerian American and he is youth and several and having a child and experience at the same time, So, appreciate our host for taking the time to be here. You know, a lot have been going into having such a meeting like this, and we want to appreciate that. Okay, can we confirm now that the audio is fine? Quickly let me know in the comments. Let's put that up in chat. Is audio better now? Great. Let's get more comments. Let's get more comments to be sure that everyone who's participating can hear me loud and clear. I can see a few comments saying that the audio is better. Can someone unmute and say?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay. Okay. I apologize for that glitch. Apparently the systems are having some issues, but since we're back up and everyone can hear me clearly, we'll just quickly run through once more as I introduce our guest. So welcome yet again. Welcome. All of you who have joined. Thank you so much. Taking the time to be here. And everyone to be on mute, or mute rather. Please, I'll just do that. Okay, so let's all endeavor to make sure we are muted, okay? Else, saying something like that. Thank you. So yeah, welcome once more. Welcome once more. I remain the new Emmanuel, the humble moderator. I'm very happy, greatly pleased, in fact, to have each and every one of you join us once again for this third edition of the New Learning Series, Assured Africa. So, for those of you who are joining for the very first time, you know, it's pretty simple. You're maybe wondering who we are. We're Shield Africa Sustainability and Development Initiative. We are a non-profit organization, and what we do is pretty simple. We provide sustainable solutions to the global problems that we have occurring here in Africa. We do this through the instrumentality of the United Nations Security Development SDG goals. We do goals number 1, number 2, number 4, number 5, and number 13. For those of you who aren't familiar with those numbers, what this really means is that our focus is on alleviating poverty. We work on making sure we prevent hunger, we promote quality education, we deal with issues that come across the lines of gender equality, and finally, we make sure that we address peculiar issues that have implications on climate change. If you want to know more about this, quickly run through our website, www.shieldafrica.org. You can also find us on social media, Shield Africa SDI, Facebook, Instagram, and of course on X. So the main reason each and every one of you have gathered here, you pretty much already know the reasons why this mini learning series, is initiated. So we all talk about issues, indigenous issues occurring here, issues that have persisted, due to a lack of awareness, and that is what we do today. To bring forth awareness, adequate awareness about issues that are persisting here in Africa, so that you can know what to do, about those problems and actively get yourself involved. So today we're having a very interesting guest. You must have seen her bio, Miss Crystal Bell Easy, and she'll be coming up in a very short while. So let me quickly share with you her profile so you can see, the wealth of experience and basically get to know, the different types of organizations and people that she has worked with over the years. Okay, here we go. Can you confirm that you can see my screen now? Okay, great. Can we confirm that we can see the screen? So yes, that is the illustrious Miss Christabel Eze. She is a Nigerian humanitarian anchor. She's a great advocate for the youth, and specifically she has interest in women development within the agricultural sector as well as leadership. She is, or rather was, a former Miss Agriculture Nigeria in the year 2021, and since then she has moved on to spearhead several projects along the lines of youth development, along the lines of entrepreneurship, sanitation, and of course in hygiene. She has collaborated with various Nigerian government ministries, and that has inspired by her spirit, by her experience. She has moved on to establish, the Crystal Impact Development Initiative in order to make sure that she's nurturing a community of youth who are actively engaged in agriculture, in leadership, and of course in advocacy. So, Mrs. Christabel is the founder, Crystal Impact Development and Initiative. It's so good to have you. Can we quickly appreciate our guest in the comment section? Let's appreciate our guest in the comment section as she takes our screen, to share with us our wealth of experience. Let's quickly appreciate our guest, Ms. Crystal. You can have. Ms. Crystal, over to you. Can you hear me? Kindly confirm, Ms. Crystal, that you can hear. Okay. Maybe you could check your settings, because I can see that you're unmuted. Confirm that everything is working fine.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay.
I can hear you clearly. So please, I'll just pin you so you can have the floor.
But I can't really hear you. Your volume is quite low because I had to connect to my
Okay, how is it? How's audio? Is it better? Meanwhile, go on. Go on. If you can hear me, you can please proceed.
Hi, Emmanuel. Hi, everyone. I don't know if it's the network. I can't hear Emmanuel at all. I can't hear him.
Can you hear me? I can hear you quite fine.
Emmanuel?
Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Emmanuel. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Emmanuel.
Okay. I've been
Yes.
hearing you, really well all along.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you at all. I don't know what happened, but I can hear you now.
Okay, perhaps the network
Yes.
then. But so
Yes,
it's
so
okay.
we're back on.
Of course. Please proceed. So, you can proceed, everyone. This very lovely, beautiful woman you see on our screen is Miss Christabel.
Hi, everyone.
She'll be speaking with us today, sharing her wealth of experience, sharing success stories, that she's experienced on her journey, meeting other people, meeting several agencies in government, and of course, specific interest on agricultural development, as how it affects the youth, with specific interest in women, although I do not believe it's, only women, but you get the idea. So, Miss Christabel, you can have the floor and share with us, what you have today.
Okay, so I was hoping you were going to ask me certain questions. So you want me to make like an introduction of what we'll be talking about basically, right?
Yes, however you choose to proceed, it's absolutely fine.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm so honored and super excited to be here. I mean, I'm always yearning for opportunities and platform to be able to share my knowledge, and of course, another opportunity for me to also learn. So I, like he rightly said, he already introduced my bio. I am a young lady that is very passionate about agriculture, and I am fully committed. My initiative is fully committed to raising a community of young people and women that are actively involved in agriculture, because it's very important that our focus will be on young people and changing the narrative of the fact that agriculture is meant just for the illiterate or for the old people. And that way we can have more productivity, more employment, increase in our agripreneurship, and of course, the whole economic growth and development. And of course, we have abundant food sufficiency and food security. So my NGO is working tirelessly to be able to create avenues, capacity building, empowerment opportunities, and all sorts of strategies to be able to ensure that more young people like myself and everyone on here are able to see agriculture as a means of livelihood and economic sustainability. So people need to begin to identify with the fact that when somebody asks you, oh, what do you want to be in future? So we shouldn't just stop. We shouldn't just be saying, oh, I want to be a lawyer or I want to be a doctor. All of that is amazing, but we need to infuse agriculture as a passion, as a dream for young people to aspire to become in future. So because they need to realize how important, in fact, agriculture is indispensable. We can do with so many things in life, but when it comes to agriculture, we cannot do without agriculture because it concerns every human being, and we are all connected by food. We need food to survive. So if we don't have the means to survive, which is food, we might be dying every day. So it's very important that young people really understand how important agriculture is. So as we go further, I'll be sharing strategies and how we can ensure that young people and women are actively involved in agriculture. And of course, my experiences with myself and other people that I've encountered along my journey. Emmanuel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you.
So, of course, everyone you've heard from her, she's shared with us, the importance of food, and I find that very interesting. We are all connected by food. That's a very great quote. I'm going to definitely keep that. So, I was just wondering before we move on, you know, how did you really get roped into all this? What really was like, the motivation? Did you encounter something, or let me give you a quick background. So,
Yeah.
I think sometime in 20 we're in 2024 now, so I think it was in 2022 or so. I was reading through an old report I happened to come across online, and I read that over a little over 50%. I can't remember the exact number now anymore, but a little over 50% of Nigeria's consumer price index was in food. I found that was a very intriguing moment for me because I'm like,
Sorry,
okay,
someone should unmute. Okay.
yeah, I just did that.
Okay.
So could we all, okay, everyone's unmuted, it's muted now. Okay, great.
Okay.
So as I was saying, so I happened to just stumble across this report, and I learned from there that over 50%, I think about, okay, I'm not sure of the number, but we can just say about between 50 something to about 51% of Nigeria's consumer food index of price index was on food. I found it very interesting because then it began to make sense to me. Some things that you'd hear people like Finn Kalu on Twitter or X, talk about the whole situation we have with inflation, and that was like a light bulb moment for me. I got to understood right there just by seeing that piece of data. Why we have all these issues that we see with food. Any little thing, and they talk about inflation, and then the price of food is just plummets, and everyone is just a lot of people really don't know what to do. People just keep complaining and complaining and complaining. And I say it was a light bulb moment for me because right then, right there, I got to understand a little bit of what was really happening within the economy as far as how food touches everyone and how it really directly was influencing the inflation rates year over year over year over year till the point that we even are right now. And in fact, just this afternoon before the talk, unfortunately, we didn't get the chance to chat. I would have very much loved that opportunity, but I just read a little bit about you, and then I just went to look up some numbers, and I saw that the points have been increasing from right now. I think we're about 7. The CPI is about 750 points, which is really high. I think in the year 1996 or so, it was about 50. So we can see the difference. In the 90s, it's steadily been increasing, gradually growing, and it's well over 750 points by now, and it's really crazy. So it speaks a lot to me as to how everyone or maybe not everyone, but how a lot of people,
Most people.
specifically the youth, yes, most people, specifically the youth right now. And you already mentioned women, how we could diversify that industry and how everyone should get their hands moving. And as much as you can get involved. It would really go a long way in helping that sector, and in turn helping the entire economy of Nigeria. And in time, it won't happen overnight, but give it a few years. As more people join, as more people become sensitized about food security and getting our hands in there, we could begin to see the economy change gradually, and it's literally going to reach every sector within the country. So I was asking, that was just a background story. So that for me, was a light bulb moment, as I said, and truly, it inspired me, right? And now I own a farm. As crazy as that moment was, I was like, okay, I've got to do something. I've got to do something, right? And I think in the following year, I put some things together and just put some investments to be able to, at least I can say I'm doing something as well with the country, because I love this country. And I'm not part of the Japa frenzy, right? I think we can build this country, we can make things change, and it will be better for all of us, not just hit now, but even for our children and our children's children. So share with us really quickly how, what your motivation was, or how you got roped into this whole agro business thing.
Okay, yes. So recently, in the past maybe 1 or 2 years, when people meet me and then I talk about my passion for agriculture, most of them would assume that, oh, I studied agriculture or something related like that in school. As a matter of fact, I studied theater arts in school, which is part of theater arts. So I'm also passionate about acting as well. So my interest for agriculture started when I was younger, like I was in secondary school. I remember very well that my grandma owned a farm. So we would usually sell most of our farm produce. I would always go to the farm with her. I was that deep-rooted when it comes to farming activities with her. So I remember vividly that we would sell some of the farm produce, and then we use the money to offset some of our school bills, buy uniform, and all of that. But along the line, while growing up as a teenager, you might deviate from, environmental vices or impacts while growing up as a young person. So I had that moment where I deviated a bit from agriculture. But my interest came back again when I also have passion for modeling. And when Miss Agriculture competition came up, I was like, oh, this is agriculture. It's something that is unique and different. It's not like every other beauty pageant out there. This is a pageant with a purpose and creating positive impact and changes in the society. So I got involved in the pageant, and we all represented different cash crops. We went through different series of trainings and workshops to be able to be educated well on how important agriculture is. So during my tenure as Miss Agriculture in 2021, I had lots of interactions with young people, old people inclusive. I went to lots of farms. I realized that people are actually mostly ignorant about agriculture, not because they don't want to go into it to start with. The first part is being ignorant about it. So I got to experience that, people don't know how important this agriculture is as well. So I got to do some projects as well. So when I handed over as agriculture, I would have probably gone into something else, but I realized the importance to continue on the journey. So my motivation is based on the fact that agriculture is indispensable. You can make a lot of money from agriculture. So I call it green money, so people think that, I call it green money. So I try to refer to young people as green millionaires to make them understand that agriculture can give you an income that maybe most professions might not even be able to give you. But you need to have the patience, the passion, and the zeal to be able to go into agriculture. I own a farm in Cross River State and Abuja as well. So I know how much I've been able to get from my farmland. And I know people that I have done projects for that are into farming businesses right now. So it's booming, and it's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy or it's a bed of roses. It is not easy to invest in agriculture, but
Sure.
you can start small. You can have a garden at the back of your house. You can like have vegetables and stuff like that. So that's a good way to start. So my motivation is the fact that agriculture is indispensable and it helps to create a lot of opportunities, curb social vices, employment, and of course our economic growth. So yeah, I'm deeply rooted when it comes to agricultural practices.
Great. You know, I like the way you speak, and you have a way of coining certain phrases that I find really interested. I've also just noted that green millionaires and green money.
Yes, great
So
millionaires.
that's something I'm going to have to use a lot going forward. So guys, you've heard from her. I would also like you guys to do something for me, right? You could begin to pen down your questions so that as the interaction progresses, you know, you could pen them down as you listen to what we share, and then ask them. You can ask on YouTube, just go into the comments, type in your questions. You can also ask right here on Zoom in the chat box. So just have that in mind, and you can begin to roll in your questions as we move forward. So, you know, still on this matter of agriculture and you know the youth, and you know specifically speaking about how we can actually move forward. I was just wondering, right? So, for the young people who, you know, unlike most who are interested in getting into agriculture, right?
Mm.
What would you say? Are there? Okay, let me put it this way: are there any specific skills or skill sets that you think, you know, they have to actively, you know, involve in at this point in time, you know, in order to help them with this dream of getting into the business and making it, you know, successfully?
Yes, of course there is. It's just like saying, oh, you want to write an exam for you, maybe for your WIEC, and then there's an advanced level, which is a university for your for your bachelor degree, and then there's masters, and then there's PhD. Well, for agricultural practices, you might have the basic knowledge when it comes to farming or being a farmer. But for you to advance, because what we are looking at in my initiative is going beyond the subsistence level of farming. It's back in the days where we have our aunties or grandparents or basically our aged people do farming just because they want to feed their immediate family at that moment. But right now we are going in a more advanced way with innovation, technology. So with all of that, it is very important that you must be skilled when it comes to agricultural practices, unless you want to remain basic or remain on the subsistence level of agriculture. But if you must advance, you must have the necessary skill, training, mentorship, go through workshop and leadership program for you to be able to have the basic knowledge to be able to go into agricultural practices. If, for example, now we want to empower a young person that wants to go into poultry business, for example, we will not be able to provide you what you require if you do not know how to manage that poultry business. You don't know how you're going to give your birds feed. You don't know the mortality rate or anything that might happen when it comes to handling that specific agricultural business. So it's very important that you have the necessary skills to advance.
That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. There's this phrase that was coined from the Bible, I believe. You know how it goes something about knowledge, how people perish for a lack of knowledge. And in recent,
lack of knowledge,
yes. Yeah, exactly. So thank you for that reminding me. So in recent time, I've been seeing a lot on the news and you know, news blogs and stuff like that about, you know, there's been lots of opportunities for grants across different fields. In fact, I was very shocked when I was speaking with someone just the other day, and then they told me that there were lots of grants opportunities in the area of fashion. It rocked my world that day. I was shook. I had no idea that artisans in the fields, you know, could go out there, and that there's already been provisions, you know, for empowerment along those lines. So I found it very, very shocking. So without the requisite knowledge of certain things, for example, it would be very difficult, especially as we're speaking about, you know, agriculture right now. You said even if you know you're trying to help someone or empower them in the right direction in this field, you know, without the requisite knowledge. Yeah. So how exactly would that grant be beneficial if you don't know, the basic needs of management for a
Yes,
poultry farm, for
exactly.
example, right?
Some
So
of them are
maybe someone
just in a hurry to get access to the money and the
to money,
resources when you don't
exactly.
have knowledge.
Exactly. So guys, that's a very critical point that everyone must know. You must also heavily invest in knowledge. You must invest in knowledge so that you don't just begin something and then it ends up crashing. Right. If you want it to grow, I also saw a report that said that the average, lifespan of a business in Nigeria was somewhere about three years. So it means that the businesses who have stood over 3 years they're really doing like a lot to be there. So much work has gone into it. So it's very important, very pertinent, in fact, that you make sure you know as much as possible about whatever niche within the agricultural sector that you want to focus on. So, guys, you can throw in your questions now. I haven't seen anyone. So let your questions come in for Ms. Christobel as we proceed. So I was just also wondering, so does this mean like your organization, right? You have is it
Yeah.
just women? Before I go into the question, let me ask.
Oh, no,
let me
no,
just
no.
ask now.
No,
So
no,
that
no. It's
because
it's
they are genderizing everything these days.
oh
Everything
no.
is we are beginning to have this very unpleasant
Is
divide
both
along the lines of
sexes. Mm.
both sexes. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah.
youth,
So the
exactly. I
guys
say
who
youth
are
and women,
eliminated.
that's our focus. But
Yeah.
According to the Ministry of Agriculture, right, women are
Okay.
constitute 75% of the population that are into farming. So most times they tend to focus more on women, and because we're trying to also eliminate gender disparities, that the fact that women cannot own lands or women cannot access certain credit facilities just because they are women. So they tend to pay a little bit more attention to women, but it's both men and women actually. And when you empower a woman, you empower a home. Not to be biased, but that's the facts.
A very well stated fact, in fact.
Yes.
So great. Could you speak a little bit? You've been in this industry for a bit now. Could you just share with us, those who aren't, as knowledgeable, what the industry, the agricultural landscape is at right now? Like how is it feeling like, in terms of participation, for example. Women, you already said over 75% are, but I don't know if the whole of that group is actually actively
Have access
involved.
to land.
Yes. So just in general, could you just speak as to what it's feeling like right now? How much more do you think we could go?
To be very honest, one thing is the fact that, like you rightly said from the beginning, that is the fact that we have people that are willing to be involved in this agriculture. And another problem we are also facing is access to land, which is a very big challenge when it comes to farming practices, right? So because, lands are expensive, and if most times you might see a group of people, like maybe about 20 or 25, they are all using one piece of farmland, because it's difficult for you to on your own own a whole land to yourself. So they tend to have what they call cooperative, or a community where they have a particular piece of land where they're all working together. So even if that's 75% of women, like I mentioned, doesn't mean that each of them have access to land. So which is part of what we are trying to advocate for, that we should be able to have friendly ownership of land, or even if not ownership, but the government at least should be able to create those opportunities for people to have access to farmland. They also rent land as well. Like you can just rent a piece of land to just do particular farm produce. Doesn't mean you're actually having ownership to that land. Maybe in due time, of course, you'll be able to buy the land. So the idea of land ownership is a challenge when it comes to farming practices. So what we're actually trying to do is to advocate for more access to land opportunities for young people and women.
Oh, that's absolutely great.
So that's why I mentioned initially that you don't need to wait to have a huge farmland before you can start. Your garden, your compound, you can start small there as well.
Absolutely. I agree with you. But just to be clear, when you said the whole group of women, are we speaking about let's say individuals working in like a cluster. So say, for example, let's say
Yeah,
there's
cluster,
1 hectare
exactly.
piece of land.
Yes,
Okay,
cluster.
okay.
Yes,
I
cluster,
just wanted to be
yes.
clear on that, just to be sure I understand, and so that everyone who is
Yes,
also
it's cluster,
participating,
yes, cluster farming, yes.
understands that. So yeah, speaking about lands, right? So Nigeria has been going through a lot in recent times, especially how it relates to land, agriculture, and security. So it's just quite unfortunate. Sometime maybe about 2 months ago, early on, yeah, because about 2 months ago this year, Sha, I was having a conversation with someone who also happened to do something similar to what you're speaking about, this land cluster thing, and he just went on complaining about how they were having issues with security and this banditry that's just unfortunately spreading very badly like a wildfire all across the country. And what this basically means, what I'm trying to say in essence, is that people are beginning to have to run away from their farms. It's crazy.
Yes,
It's a
it
really crazy
is.
sight, to be honest, to see, because after investing so much amount of money into trying to get your produce, and then before the time for harvest or almost at the time of harvest, you're having issues and you have to then abandon the whole of that project. I was just wondering, if are you aware of anything that the government, are there any structures in place, because this could be like it's a legitimate drawback in all sense for
Oh,
people who
it
are listening
is.
right now. So let's say someone is interested. Okay, so I want to start a farm, but then I'm hearing that bandits are stopping people from going to their farm. Okay, so I
Headsmen
don't
and
feel
the rest.
incentivized to go forward. So could you help us clear the air? Are there any structures on ground? Is the government doing anything in that regard to ensure that farmers are actually safe when they go out to start something? Or are there, like you were talking about clusters, are there clusters where like the government to provide certain structures for security or something like that, just to make sure that people have access to their farms and then have access to it when they need it to, and stuff like that?
Well, the truth of the matter is the fact that insecurity it's something that affects everyone, every nation, and every community, and it goes beyond just agriculture. We heard cases of people being kidnapped, people being robbed, and it has nothing to do with agriculture. So I cannot categorically state that, oh, the government has enforced a particular action to make sure that farmers are well protected or they are well secured. There are so many challenges when it comes to agriculture, and of course, insecurity is one of the major challenges when it comes to farming practices. But I mean, so far, when I have interactions with some government officials, like when I met the previous ministers and all of that, when it comes to insecurity, and of course, the news that I read, the information that is being shared, we keep hearing that, oh, the government is enforcing a particular action to make sure that farmers are being protected and they are well secured. But the truth is that it's never 100% assured, because anything can happen. And how, even if you're able to protect the farmers that are in the urban communities, how about the farmers that are in the rural communities? So most times we're not able to penetrate those farmers that are in the rural community, because this is Nigeria as far as we are concerned, and there are so many issues or so many economic crises that are happening in Nigeria at the moment, and insecurity is one of them. So to wrap it up, I can't exactly say this is what the government have done. So from now on, all farmers, you're safe. Go to your farm. I cannot guarantee that. But we are taking measures. We are trying to see how we can, make sure that most of our farmers are well protected and safe to go to their farmlands. And of course, individual precautions. So even if the government or the public are trying to make sure that you carry out safety procedures, you as an individual should also take your own precautions and safety procedures to be able to go to your farmland as well and do your production.
Absolutely. So guys, we've heard from Ms. Crystal, as much as the government is doing, the best that they can bring their capacities, we also have to make sure that, we do our proper surveys, put in a lot of work into making sure that, the areas where you're getting, are areas that are generally considered, safe or free from, as much as possible, from, such issues, so that everyone stays safe and at the end of the day, you also become like a green millionaire. So moving on, quickly share with us some of the initiatives that your organization is actively engaged with or in, as far as women and the young people are concerned, and maybe some of the success stories from there that they can hear, and then possibly after this meeting get in touch with you guys and possibly find a way moving forward.
Okay. For my initiative is barely 2-year-old. So before I go into what my initiative has done so far, I would start with when I was
Okay, guys.
Can you hear me?
Oh yes, you're back. It's good to have you back.
Okay.
So
Yes.
very quickly before you continue, guys, let me just remind you one more time. Your questions, get them ready. I haven't seen anything yet on Zoom. I'll quickly check YouTube. So just get your questions ready, so I can begin to ask them immediately after the next 1 or 2 interactions we'll have with Ms. Crystal. So please go ahead. You were saying you were trying to give us a backstory.
Yes. So when I emerged the Miss Agriculture Nigeria,
Okay.
I had those were the periods where I did a lot of projects. So I had opportunity to meet with the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Women Affairs, and a whole host of other government officials, CBN and NISA Microfinance Bank that is focused on agriculture. So we're able to carry out projects that, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can. Okay, for some reason, I suppose that's network, but you've gone off. Okay, so Crystal, you could connect. I suppose this is just maybe poor
Can you hear me
reception.
now?
Okay, good to have you
Yes,
back.
I'm back. Yes, sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Yes, so when I was Miss Agriculture Nigeria in 2021, so I had opportunity to interact with most government officials, and I was able to carry out certain projects to empower young people in poultry business, in palm oil business, in cassava and aquaculture, and a few host of other projects that I did. And as I speak with you, most of those people that benefited from those projects are doing really well, as a matter of fact, because we had most of young people that were graduates and they were looking for lots of employment opportunities in their various career field or any other thing that they are able to lay their hands on. But as I speak with you right now, they are handling their agri-businesses so well. They are their own bosses, and they're making a living as well from their farm produce. So in a nutshell, I had an amazing experience being Miss Agriculture, and I was able to use the opportunity and platform to impact a whole over 2,000 young people across Nigeria. Wow. No kidding. In the north, we targeted the north, we targeted the south, and of course the east as well. We couldn't go to everywhere, of course, but we chose like at least one state from each of the geopolitical zones in Nigeria to be able to carry out capacity building and empower them, and of course give them opportunities to learn more. So we worked with various government agencies, even CBN as well. So which led me to also start my initiative, which, like I said, is barely 2 years, and we're more focused on building the structures for the initiative. But nonetheless, we're able to impact people, women at IDP camp. And we are currently working on a project for women in IDP camp at the moment. And then we also had a celebration on World Food Day, where we went to so many farms that are owned by young people to encourage them, and of course to donate certain things to them as well. So yeah, that's our journey so far. And I can tell you that we just got started. We have so much more to accomplish and to do. We want to see a Nigeria where young people are proud to be farmers. If they ask you, who are you or what do, you can probably say, oh, I am a farmer. So you're not ashamed of being a farmer. So we're trying to also create new ideas on how we can make agriculture attractive to young people. You wake up in the morning, you're proud, oh, I'm going to work, and you're going to your farm. And most times people do not realize that agriculture is beyond just going to the farm. There are various sectors when it comes to being an agriculturist. This is we're in the era of technology and innovation. So you can sit at the comfort of your home with your smartphone and you're a farmer. I know a lot of people that have apps. They're able to monitor. There's a lady that her name is Onyeka. She's one of the most renowned agriculturists in Nigeria, and she's well recognized internationally. So she has this app where she connects farmers to sponsors or access to markets and all of those things. So you can stay at your house, you can purchase. Let me say you want to buy, there's an app where you can buy, maybe you can buy an animal. You can be monitoring that animal through your app until when it's mature and you're able to sell that animal. And of course, we have the raw material aspect where you can convert certain farm produce. You know, a particular cash crop can be converted into different uses, right? So you don't need to actually go into the farm to call yourself a farmer. So there are different sectors when it comes to being a farmer. So that is part of what young people need to understand, because they're mostly scared of the fact that, oh, I don't want to go to the farm, I don't want to get myself dirty. But you can, there are different sectors. And of course, we are trying to also use technology to advance our labor. So we go beyond just using our knife and our hose. So we have machines, heavy equipment that can actually help us to advance better.
That's absolutely true. You know, there's the misconceptions about agriculture.
Yes, so many.
There's a lot of them. Well, you know, the more, just as we said earlier, you know, the more you invest in knowledge, you know, try to get a little bit and to read a little bit, you know, more into what's happening in the industry, you become a lot more educated and certainly know, you know, a little bit about these things. There's this guy I came across called, I think on X, his name, Farmer Sampson or something. He does, he's involved with agroponics, and you know those styles and types of farming that has to do very little with soil. It's in a greenhouse. Some of them don't even grow with water. And so there's so many great ideas. And in fact, if you've been listening intently, you would have caught one or two very interesting ideas, you know, about what to do and how to actually proceed or you know, start your journey in the agro field. So there's a lot of things. So if you've been listening intently, you would have caught those things. But in the case you did not, no problem. There'll be a replay of this video so you could, you know, watch, listen to, you know, Ms. Crystal has distilled all of these bits of information, and then you could certainly catch them. So someone put up this question. Let me get it up there. Okay, so yeah. So someone's saying, as a woman, what mindset would you advise okay, as a woman, what mindset would you advise, you know, for me to adopt as far as agriculture is concerned? I'm not sure I really understand. Do you get the question? What mind? Okay.
I don't know if she means what kind of farming she can go into, or I don't know if that's what she's trying to ask.
What mindset would you advise me to? Okay, what mindset would you advise me to adopt as far as agriculture is concerned? Okay, that's a rather broad question. It's almost imprecise if I put it that way. But if at all I get what she's saying, I'm trying as much as possible to distill this down to see if I pick the points as clearly. Okay, well, I'll just move on to someone else and probably come back to that later. So someone is saying, so as a woman who's interested in agriculture, what baby steps are there that I can take to ensure that I actually get started? So what baby steps can I take as a woman who wants to get started in this?
Okay,
Of course.
I think
Okay,
I think
please
I
go
must
on.
have mentioned a few things when I started talking. And as a woman who is interested in agriculture, the baby steps that you could start, first of all, is you need to have passion and interest. Why do you want to go into agriculture? Are you going into it just because you think you can make quick money, or because it's a short-term investment? Agriculture is a long-term investment, and of course, the output is usually really massive. So she needs to understand that this is something she really wants to do. She should be passionate about it. If she wants to run a particular agri business, for example, maybe she wants to go into poultry right now, she needs to have interest in poultry. She needs to identify which aspects of agribusiness that she thinks can work with her. It could be poultry, it could be aquaculture, it could be vegetables, or any of those value chains in agriculture. So the other thing she needs to gain is knowledge. She should read. There are so many online courses, not even a course, online books and informations on Google. Google is your best friend in as far as anyone is concerned. So you can do your research and ask and get more knowledge on how you can go into a particular agribusiness. And of course, you can attend physical workshop. You can maybe find out if they are carrying out a specific workshop or training when it comes to an agribusiness. So the first thing, like I said, is to do is interest. The second thing is identify what value chain you want to go into. And by value chain, I mean what agribusiness you want to venture into. Then the third one is gain basic knowledge. Start with basic knowledge, and of course, more training and more training and more knowledge and skill to be able to manage that your agribusiness. And then from there, you can now start. So these are the three most important baby steps the person should be able to take.
Okay, so you've heard that very clearly. So join a community and
yes, you can. Yes,
gain
that's
knowledge.
very
That was
important.
what I was about to
Because
point
there are
out before she started
cooperatives that,
speaking.
there are cooperatives that have these women, like women association, these that are friendly. They talk about these things, so that's a good way also.
You know what's funny? You already mentioned this in passing earlier on, which is why I said, those who are participating, if they've been listening intently, they would have caught a little bit of things there and there. So yeah, I was also about to say, just before you went on and to elaborate on that point, knowledge, very, very vital, very, very vital
important
as far as the agricultural business is concerned. You have to have knowledge so that you know what you're doing. She mentioned about the applications earlier on where you could connect, buy produce or buy or let's say purchase an animal for example, and then you could monitor all of that from your mobile phone and not necessarily having to be there. However, it's not just automatic. You need to still know a little bit of things, right? You need to know some things. So
and collaboration too. You can decide to collaborate with a farmer, someone that has the app or means of transporting the produce. So you can collaborate as well. It's really important.
Absolutely. So you can bring in more questions as we go. We've already spent about an hour, and Ms. Christabel, although she has graciously given us a little bit of her time, she's very busy, so that we can get your questions ASAP, and then she gives you answers to those things that have been, been on your mind, and so we can move on and quickly bring this to a close. So I wanted to ask, we've been speaking about the current, and I also have a little bit of interest in what the future. So what the future looks like, right? So could you just speak a little bit to that point? What do you see? Okay, let me give a little bit of a backstory. So how generally speaking in in government, for instance, we've been hearing about stuff like Project 2020 or, how do they call it again? Is it Vision 2020? I can't remember exactly how they say, but I remember very clearly that there's a 2020 involved, and that has not happened, right? But nonetheless, we get to see projections for the future for several, in several areas, in several fields in science. For example, there's going to be a projection. We had, Project Kick Polio, how we're trying to kick polio out and all of that stuff. So in agriculture, what do you see the future looking like? Have there been any such similar projections for the future of agriculture in Nigeria, and what role is your organization playing in actualizing that?
So far, what I can say for certain is the fact that I remember the previous administration and of course the current administration. They actually, irrespective of whatsoever that is going on in the country, but
Yes.
I am very certain that the previous and the present administration are very key interested when it comes to agriculture, and their focus is also on young people. So with the way they are advocating, or they are pushing for agriculture for young people. So there's no specific goal, or rather there's no specific future, clear future to say, oh, this is how agriculture is going to be in the next 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years. But I can say for a certain that with the way the previous and the current administration is pushing for agriculture, I think it's going to be, there will be a positive enlightenment when it comes to agriculture with the young people. So what my initiative is doing is to advocate more for young people inclusion. And
okay,
most times the government are releasing certain opportunities for agriculture empowerment, but they're not getting to the right people that need these opportunities to excel. So what my organization is doing is to be able to see how we can penetrate these opportunities. I can tell you that there are so many opportunities for agricultural empowerment. So the first thing is for you to have interest, and the other thing is for you to assess these opportunities, right? So my initiative is striving really hard to make sure that these opportunities come to young people. And in the next few years, we're going to have a lot of agropreneurs and green millionaires in the country. So yes.
Yeah, that term again, green millionaire. So for those of you who also want to be like me and to tap into this wealth of knowledge, also becoming a green millionaire, there's a way forward.
Yes.
You definitely know that there's a way forward. So for those who want to get in touch or proceed, so someone already has passion or interest, and of course you just mentioned that the issue, and perhaps that's the reason why most of the participants here are here, because they want to know how to get connected to this opportunity. So how do they, or how would they go about it? Do they just reach out over the phone, or just head over to your organization or something?
No, I mean, besides my organization, there are so many other initiatives and organizations out there that because most times if you go as an individual to get these opportunities, it's usually really difficult. So when you approach an organization, either my organization, other organizations, I mean, if you do your research, you find out that there are so many like-minded initiatives just like mine, and of course, Street Africa, that are keen interest in creating platform and opportunities for young people to penetrate these opportunities. So what they can do is to approach these organizations, mine inclusive, of course, and then we can take it up from there. We'll see what they want, and then we'll see their interest, and then we'll see how we can all work together to see how we can make this opportunity available for them. I'm not saying you just walk into an office and say, oh, I want to start poultry farming, and then they'll just give you 1 million naira, 2 million naira. It doesn't really work that way, Even we as organizations, you can apply for a project and it can take more than a year for you to get an approval or to get the necessary requirement that you want to get. That's why I emphasize on having interest and passion for what you want to do. Don't just come into it because you heard that they're giving 500,000 5 million naira. When I did one of my projects, poultry farming project that was sponsored by CBN, right? So what we did was that when we put out the interest that, oh, we're going to be giving 500,000 to each person to start a poultry business, we had thousands of people apply that registered online for it. But then my team and I sat down and then we realized that if we give this money to these people, one person might use and go and marry, or
just blow it
and buy a personal thing for themselves, right? So what we did was that we used that money, I mean, most of that money, to purchase the beds. And the beds, I mean, like small fowl. We purchased the beds for them, and then we bought the feeds for them and other requirements that they will need. So what we gave them was a startup capital from part of the money. So with that, we are sure that you will want to be a part of it and make sure that this your business is booming. Because if you just give them that 500,000 naira, you won't see them again. They will use the money for something else. So it's very important that we know that this person really has interest in this particular agricultural value chain, and or he or she knows that this is what I really want to do. Then we'll take it up from there.
Absolutely. She shared that quite hilariously, but to be honest, I had that in mind. I was beginning to wonder, right? Because there's a lot of hardship within the country, unfortunately so, and it's not far-fetched that someone gets a grant for, let's say, 500K, as you mentioned, and then they end up using that to solve family problems instead of heavy investment. So, so just for a little bit of accountability, that's really what happens, right? So those of you who are here, which would like to believe that you're really serious, you have the passion and interest, and you really want to get your boots on the ground to get started. So that's really what happens. So it's not as though someone just gives you one million from somewhere, and then just go blow that money. You need to be accountable for it, so that
absolutely
you definitely start something and then make something for yourself, for the future. So someone asked a very interesting question here. But before I go to it, this person who asked this question they said, looking ahead, what do you see as the future trend or opportunities for women in the agro industry? She already sort of touched on that just now. He also added, how can stakeholders prepare to maximize these opportunities? So she already just spoke a little bit on those points. There are opportunities out there, they're not getting out there to the right people. And so what initiatives like hers are doing is make sure that they find people or connect people who have the right mindset, who are passionate and interested in getting started in the agro business, and then connecting them to those opportunities. So she mentioned that already. So yeah, this very interesting question that I found here. Someone is saying, with the way technology is evolving, do you think mechanized farming poses a challenge or threat to traditional job opportunities in agriculture? So if I get this correctly, they're asking if mechanized farming, by the way, is a great thing. Unfortunately, like all revolutions,
that's one of our major focus, mechanized farming.
So exactly. So unfortunately, with all revolutions that I've seen or that I've read about, I haven't lived that long, so rest assured I read about them. So when you have something new, say when you've got something new, it will take away some jobs. Quite frankly, it will take away some jobs. But let's hear the experts speak about that. So this person is asking, with mechanized farming, is it going to pose a threat to traditional jobs? Now that we see that a tractor can just clear a farm, plant your seeds, even though
Emmanuel, thank you for
It seems Emmanuel is off.
Looks like Emmanuel has network issues.
Yes.
So, but I think you can go ahead with answering the question if you got it.
Yeah, I didn't get the end part where let me understand what the person is asking, that if mechanized farming will pose a threat to the last part is what I did not get clearly.
So I think that essentially the person is concerned about mechanized farming taking over the job opportunities that are currently available. For instance, people who are like harvesting
Instead
the
of
hands.
them doing the job,
Yes,
the
absolutely.
machines are doing the job. To be very honest, I don't think I would agree with that mechanized farming is going to take over their job. Because let's see this way now. Those machines are being operated by human beings, right? We hardly see equipment, let's say tractor, for example, being operated without somebody doing the engineering work, or somebody driving it, or somebody directing where or which area it should go to. So I see it as the laborers. This is like before we had the mechanized farming. The laborers are actually being advanced to not actually use their hands to do the work that they've been doing. Instead, they should get more advanced knowledge and skill to be able to operate those mechanized equipments. So that way they can advance more, their salary will even be more, because they are now using technology to do their works. So in no way is their jobs or their employment being affected as laborers. So mechanized farming is not taking over their jobs. Instead, it is advancing their opportunity for a better job. And beyond the opportunity for a better job, it's also advanced opportunity for more productivity. If we are using laborers for a farm production, the output we are going to get will definitely be less than what a mechanized machine is going to do. So what I would say is that it should never pose as a threat to laborers. Instead, it will actually increase their opportunity to advance to a higher level, and also to be able to be the one to operate those equipments. So I think it should definitely not pose a threat to them at all. Instead, it should be better.
Absolutely. So that's pretty much speaks to your question. Two more questions here. We spent well over an hour, and if you'd like to get done with the question so that you can know how to connect with her specifically. Someone is saying here, you mentioned an app earlier on. Could you share that app? I think that's when you were speaking about Onyeka, right?
Yeah, apps. Yes. So
yeah.
Okay, so there are other apps online. So I'm not going to share one, but you can also do your research and findings for other opportunities. So Onyeka's app is called Farm Crowdy. Maybe I should type it in here on the chat.
Yes.
Farm Crowdy. So she connects farmers to sponsors and opportunities for learning. Yes, I think I put it on the chat. So her app is Farm Crowdy. So you can read more on that. And to be honest, beside everything, do your own research more to get more insights and research to know whatever information that you need to get to be able to move ahead.
Okay, so there it is. That's the app Farm Crowdy by Onyeka. Do you have something similar to this?
Me?
Yes, your organization.
If I have
do you
an
have
app?
something similar to this? Yes.
No, I don't have an
Not
app
yet.
yet.
Okay.
But it's part of what we are going to do, but not yet. We don't have it yet.
All right, that's absolutely fine. So one last question. This person wants to know, how can NGOs and other initiatives make agriculture attractive to young people? It's actually a two-in-one question, to be honest. So maybe we'll just go with the first line, and then I'll come over to the second one. So how can NGOs or initiatives like yours, like what are you guys doing to make agriculture attractive to young people? She already mentioned something similar, but you know, again, just
Yeah, but let me just throw more
elaborate on
light
that.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one key factor that we are trying to do, my initiative is trying to do, is to live by example. As a matter of fact, we are trying to see how we can change the mode of dressing when you're going to your farm. So, you know, part of why young people do not enjoy going to the farm, because they feel that they're going to look like a beggar, or they will look tattered and dirty going to the farm. Do you know you can wake up in the morning, dress really nice? I know the farm is not such a clean environment, right? But it's the way, I mean, it's fashion. No, anybody can invent fashion as far as I'm concerned. So there's a way you dress, right, as a young people. So imagine you're watching a screen, right? And then you see 5 young people dressed, looking nice, and they're in their farmland. And then they're giving you progress of how their farming business is going and how much they're making and the impact they are creating and the fact that they have job opportunities. All of that encompassed together will actually make somebody else to be interested in farming.
Yes.
Because what people are not doing, the fact that we're not making agriculture enticing to young people, right? So we need to show them by example, not just saying it, oh, do this, do that. Let's show them, let them see it. You know, people that when you see something, so they say seeing is believing, right? That phrase that says seeing is believing. So when they see and they see that, oh, these young people are thriving in this agricultural business, see how they look. And one thing people also need to know is that you can still be in your choice of career or field of career and still be in agriculture. So you don't have to abandon your career because you want to go into agriculture. So with all of that, when they're saying that, oh, this person is this and she's also doing agriculture, or he's this and he's doing agriculture and thriving and looking good while doing it, it's an amazing example to set. So we're trying to create new innovations and ideas to be able to make it enticing to young people, and also through pageantry as well. If, for example, now I want to organize Queen of Agriculture, there's so many young girls that want to, oh, I want to wear a crown, I want to be Miss this, I want to be Miss that. So if I target Queen of Agriculture, young people are already interested in participating in that competition to win the title and to win the prizes and the opportunities that will come with it. When they come together, you just capture them, train them, and emphasize on the fact that beyond having the title, you need to also carry out agricultural practices. So with all of that, we can also have entertainment, or we can organize stage plays for people to come and act. It's entertaining. They can watch and see how somebody is starting from a baby level to a matured level of agricultural production. And then they are seeing the results of that stage play, and which is also in real life. So with all of that entertainment, mode of dressing, the things you're getting, the output you're getting from the agricultural production, of course, young people will be interested. I mean, that would be a start to getting young people interested in agriculture.
Absolutely. So the second part of the question, I believe you have extensively talked about in your reply just now. They were asking what then are the strategies that these organizations could adopt in order to, you know, make sure young people are attracted. So she's already talked about that. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you have, you know, the answers to your question. So
and
guys,
sorry, there's one important thing I want to also note is the fact that, you know, we have so many music competition. We have Nigerian Idol, we have Big Brother, we have dance competition, but we barely see shows or reality shows or competitions on agriculture. I don't know if you've ever seen anything like that. I haven't seen. So if
to be
we
honest, I haven't either.
want to organize best groundnut farmer in agriculture competition, they will come out. The winner gets so amount. They will definitely come out to compete in those competitions. So let's try to come up with more of those ideas to see how we can make it enticing for them through entertainment, like Arali said.
quite frankly, that's a very fine idea. You know, just like you stated, it's almost unheard of. In fact, I haven't seen any. You know, I've watched a few shows or reality shows on businesses, general businesses. You have like the lion dens and the rest of them, right? So that incentivize, you know, being an entrepreneur. But I'm yet to see something that actually, you know, speaks for the agri
Project
business, yeah,
farmers.
or projects exactly that projects
Yes.
the interest of farmers. So that's absolutely true. And you know, with the way you make it sound, I'm pretty sure a lot of young people will become very interested in
Oh,
this.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I have just one quick question to wrap up, and this is I have a lot that I will use to summarize, but just one quick question. You've already highlighted several strategies and you know that could be employed in agro business, not just to make it sustainable and also successful. You've shared some of those points, and I just
Mm.
wanted to know. You've also given us your background, but maybe you could use this to wrap up. Just share with us very quickly. Have there been any a backstory, right? You must have noticed this by now. I like to do a lot of backstory
I
just
know,
for a
I
little bit
can
of
tell
context.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, just you know, just so we have context. So I think it must have been from Malcolm Gladwell's book. I don't really. I'm not exactly sure, but it is very likely so from the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, where he spoke about how you know several people. Take for example, let's say a certain generation, let's say millennials, for example, how you know certain factors that just happen to occur around that time period, that era when they were born, how those factors actually incentivize them into, you know, being successful in several areas in their life. So I was just wondering, in your own journey so far, have there been any have there been any such factors that have been how do I put this, that have contributed to your success? So because clearly you've started, and although you've mentioned, you know, there have certain challenges, and of course there will be challenges and everything, you know, one does, but you've
Definitely.
clearly
Hmm.
overcome all of these things. So just throw it in there for us and elaborate as you conclude with that. Have there been any specific or contributing factors, you know, that specific contributing factors that have helped you become successful in your journey of the agribusiness?
Okay. Before I say something, I'm still in the process of being successful because I haven't fully accomplished. So I'm still
Very
in the
modest of you,
process.
but please.
Mhm. When I become a green billionaire, then I
Like,
can say
okay,
yes, I'm
okay,
successful. Yes.
that's fine.
So yes, there are certain factors or certain occurrences that contributed to my success. And the first one obviously was winning the pageant, right? So that really
Okay,
opened
you mentioned
doors
that.
for me. Like I can't even keep count the number of people that I have met, both in government, in the public sector, the event that I get to attend. I attend a lot of high class events, and that gives me the opportunity to network with people, even beyond Nigeria. To be honest, there are times where I can decide to just walk into any embassy in Nigeria, in Abuja, for example. I have like met with like most ambassadors, is it ministers or and the starting point was winning the pageant, and that's because it's also just the organization, though, that pushed. I, as an individual, I had that extreme passion and zeal in me to push further and to achieve more. So I walked beyond what the organization presented to me. I pushed really hard
Wow.
to make sure that, oh, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. Even when I did my NYSC, I did study agriculture, but I was the only corper during my year that was working for my PPA in Ministry of Agriculture, and that's because of my platform as Miss Agriculture back then. And I was the only one that was even accepted during that period. They were not accepting corpers,
Well,
but they
wow.
accepted me because of my platform. And I worked there for my 1 year, and that also gave me more grants to penetrate the agricultural field and to also network with people. See, networking is very important. And one thing about networking is that when you network, don't just go back home and forget all the networking you've done. follow up on those people. They might not even respond to you or remember you or talk to you, but you know what you want. You keep pushing, you keep calling, you keep messaging, you keep emailing them, but only on official basis, of course. So for me, it was the starting point was winning the pageant and the opportunities that I was able to access to, you know, and the people that I met and the network. And I'm still in that journey. I'm still progressing until I fully attain and achieve. Yes.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Christabel is the founder of Crystal Impact Development Initiative. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know a lot of work has gone into this, you know, taking the time to prepare and to share with us, you know, this vast wealth of knowledge about your experience, you know, about what people or the young people and especially women, you know, how they can also get involved in in the agro business to start and also become quite successful in it. So, ladies and gentlemen, could we give a warm round of applause, a warm digital round of applause to our guest, Ms. Christabel Eze, for taking this time to be with us and to educate us so vastly. I'll quickly share with you one more time her profile. And of course, you can get in touch with her or her initiative, her organization, Crystal Impact Development Initiative, after this. Would you want to share your social media or you with them so people could get in touch after this?
Oh, absolutely.
If that's fine with you.
Yes,
It
yes.
doesn't have to be your personal socials. It could be your organization. You know, she mentioned being responsible. So you know, when reaching out, I should just like to put it out there as a form of caution. You know, when reaching out, you have to be respectful, respect,
yes,
you know,
very
people's time
important
as well. So just so that's out there. So you could share with them, please, the socials or how they could reach out.
I'm sharing my website and
okay, splendid.
my Instagram, of course.
So guys, you could just go through the comments. And for those of you following through YouTube, yes, I'm pretty sure you could see. Let me quickly share the profile and the screen so you could all follow along. Okay, great. So can we confirm that we are seeing my screen? Can we confirm that the screen is live?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So, ladies and gentlemen, once more, there you have it. Christabel is a founder of Crystal Impact Development Initiative. She is not just a humanitarian, but a great advocate for youth development in agriculture and in leadership as well. I'll share with you one very critical point, or rather 4 very critical points that I penned down. I found them very, very instructive. You know, in order for you to be successful in this enterprise, you know, you have to be passionate, have interest, genuine interest. And additionally, you have to identify areas where you could study on or where you could learn more from. So this is the area in which you're interested. Call it a niche if you must. So if it's farming birds, for example, that's poultry farming. If it's you know, other forms of animal husbandry, you know, just after your passion, pick an area of interest and then zero in on it. Lastly, she mentioned gain knowledge. Knowledge is very, very key. So you know how the industry works. Then you also have to make sure you reach out. And as a bonus from me to you, join a community such as ours, communities like Crystal Impact Development, and then you will have taken the baby steps to becoming successful in the agro business as a young person and as a woman. So, Ms. Crystal, thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time. It was also a learning opportunity for me as well, you know.
I hardly think so, but I'm humble as well.
No, for real. For real.
And of course, to all of you, the participants who have been following, thank you so much.
Thank everyone for joining.
Your time. Thank you so much. Do not forget, follow Crystal Impact Development Initiative. And of course, you can follow us on our website, read more on what we've done and who we are, www.shieldafrica.org, as well as find us on social media, Shield Africa Official on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and of course on X. You can find us at Shield Africa _ on LinkedIn, Shield Africa Official. And of course, make sure to keep tuned in on the website and on our socials so you can, get first-hand information as to when we'll be having our next mini learning series and to who our guest is, and of course what we will be speaking about. So thank you once more. It's always a pleasure to be here and to having carried you through this journey. Thank you, Christabel, and you all
Thank
have
you
a
so
lovely
much.
evening.
Thank you, everyone. I was deeply honored. God bless you all.
God bless you, and have a good night, everyone.
You too. Bye.